without further ado, let's go in to meet up with the boss of the Ice Cavern, which is a Wolfos Recolor! Yeah, this is a white Wolfos. I don't know if it's tougher than a regular Wolfos. Probably not, judging by the time it took to beat it. But anyway, for beating this pitifully easy boss, it's time for us to claim the dungeon's treasure. Yeah, even though it's sort of more of a mini dungeon than anything, it's got its own treasure nonetheless. Which is the Iron Boots, which we're going to be seeing a lot of in the Water Temple. Normally you're supposed to do this place right before the Water Temple, but I want to out King Zora right now, so whatever. Anyway, Sheik was waiting for us at the end of this cave, and note that she's the first non-hostile life form we've encountered ever since going into the Zora sector of Hyrule. So, what's been happening? As you saw, Zora's domain is completely frozen over. Sheik managed to rescue Princess Ruto from under the ice. Why did you do that? If she died frozen solid, I wouldn't have to marry her anymore. But anyway, yeah, she went to the Water Temple because, surprise, she's the sage of the Water Temple. But anyway, now she's gonna teach me a warp song that will allow me to quickly warp to Lake Hylia whenever I want, just above the entrance to the Water Temple. And as usual, Sheik spouts some lines that are remotely related to the sage that we're about to rescue. Except for one thing, I don't love Ruto. I don't have any affection for her. She just threw herself into my arms in exchange for the spiritual stone. And yes, I'm going to be milking that plot point for all it's worth until I die. So, let's play the Serenade of Water. Not bad, but I gotta say, just like just about everything else, it's a lot better in Twilight Princess. Anyway, it's time for her to do her usual ninja thing, and oh wow, double flash all the way across the screen! Anyway, we need the Iron Boots to get out of here, so I'm gonna put them on real quick. Oh, come on! I thought I fixed that white box thing! Oh, sorry. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to deal with that until the end of the LP. God damn it, I thought I fixed that for sure. Anyway, didn't need the Iron Boots for all that long, so I can just get out there, and we're almost at the entrance to the Ice Cavern. Ow! And, by the way, what Sheik was saying about, the boss of the Water Temple being the source of the curse that froze the entire place over... Well, actually, it's bullshit. Even if you do defeat the boss, Zora's domain will never thaw out. Anyway, just going to put the Iron Boots on once again, because at the very bottom of the fountain, there's a piece of heart, and as we're going to see, we're going to have a timer for this since I don't have the Zora tunic yet. But minute 42 is a lot more than I need, so that's why I can afford to come down here. I'm used to it. It's not anywhere near short enough to be a full panic situation. There is just one thing, though. When you put the Kokiri boots back on, the timer is still going down, and it's going to keep on going down until you reach the surface. So I'm just going to... Yeah, what I was saying earlier, what Sheik was saying, is the starting point of a lot of rumors on how to thaw out Zora's domain, which is one of the major gaming urban legends of the late 90s, along with how to get the Triforce, which is obviously impossible for spoilerific reasons we're going to get into a bit later on in the game. So, before rescuing King Zora, I'm just going to open up the shop, even though I don't have anything to buy there. I'm just going to open it for completion's sake. And after that, I'm going to tend to King Zora, because right after I'm done talking to him, I'm going to be on timed mission, so I don't want to have to waste any time coming down here to thaw out this ice. So, just want to maximize my efficiency when it comes to the period under which I'm going to be dealing with a time limit. So, let's go rescue the king now. But yeah, as I was saying, no matter what you've read, no matter what you've heard, no matter what, at all, don't believe for a moment that you can thaw this ice. Of course, you can go back as a child and it would revert to its former state, but it would still be like that when you come back to being an adult anyway. So, I'm just going to, now that I'm done with those bottles, bring back up the Ocarina and the prescription. I'm not going to use the prescription quite yet, though. You want to talk to King Zora first, because you get a reward just for freeing him, which is the aforementioned Zora tunic that I was talking about a few minutes ago. So, if you're really scared of getting that piece of heart down at the bottom of the fountain, you can just free King Zora, get the tunic, and go back to Zora's fountain. That wasn't really necessary, but anyway, yeah, Princess Ruta went to the water temple, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but more power to her. It actually takes some balls to go into that hellhole. Anyway, now you want to use the prescription, and yeah, they do have the ingredients, so what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to take them to that creepy old man who was watching me dive in the lab at Lake Hylia earlier on. So, what are those ingredients, you might ask? I must say Froggy! Yes, we only have 3 minutes to deliver this eyeball frog to the doctor at Lake Hylia, and despite how it may seem, you're required to go from one end of Hyrule to the other in just 3 minutes. It's really not that bad if you have Epona with you. Otherwise, I don't know if it's even doable, but I've never really bothered to try. Anyway, Zora's River. A problem with Zora's River as adult Link, if you want to go through there quickly. Remember, as young Link, you could just be carried away by the current and everything would be super fast. Well, that's not the case anymore, because adult Link is so tall that he reaches the bottom of the river no matter what. So, you really gotta keep going as fast as you can, just rolling like you would if you were on land. And by the way, I know what you're thinking right now. You're wondering, can't he just use the Serenade of Water to get to Lake Hylia super fast? Well, there's just a problem with that, and that is that the game designers foresaw this, and they pretty much consider that cheating. So, if you use any warp song, the eyeball frog, will stop being fresh, and it will be spoiled, and you will be forced to do everything all over again. Well, you're going to have to start from Zora's Domain. You won't have to start with the pocket egg from the very beginning of the side quest, because that would be really freaking annoying. Believe me, I've tried using a warp song the first time I played this game, and it didn't work so well. So this is why you're forced to go all over Hyrule instead of taking the easy way out. And I'm not sure we're going to be able to see it in that segment of the side quest, but we're going to see sooner or later that Epona really can be troublesome to control. They really could have spent a little more time refining that aspect. Okay, 1, 2. Okay. Sometimes, even if it's at full speed, it'll just choose to ignore the fence and just ram into it, and then you're gonna have to speed up all over again, then jump over the fences, which can get real annoying. Fortunately, it didn't happen here. It doesn't happen very often when you're at top speed and at the right angle, but still, sometimes it happens, and when it does, it's really annoying. Anyway, we made it with 45 seconds to spare. Oh, I have to not be L-targeted. It gets me every single time I play this game. So, this guy here freaks out at seeing the eyeball frog, and first thing he's thinking of is to eat fried eyeballs? What the hell is wrong with those Hyruleans? Fried eyeballs? Is that like... I can't imagine eating eyeballs. It must be gross. Anyway, now that I get slammed once again for being in control of a mute character, though I wonder how he figured out that I wanted eye drops to begin with, since, well, as I just said, Link is completely mute. But anyway, at least he got the point, and now we got the world's finest eye drops. And this is the part where we might see that Epona just doesn't control as well as you'd expect. Anyway, we got 4 minutes to do this. 4 minutes to go to the top of Death Mountain. Can it be done? Yes, of course it can. So, let's get... Oh, there we go! I sort of wanted to avoid having to show this to you in a timed mission, but there you go. If there's a slope, sometimes Epona is just going to stop on a dime and say, no, I am not going down that 5-degree slope. The best way to go about it is to not boost whenever you encounter one of these slopes. And the bridge at the entrance to Kakariko is another place Epona really, really, really hates. Anyway, that Bigoron sword we're about to get might as well explain what it is for those of you who've never played this game. It's by far the best sword in the game, bar none. It's twice as powerful as the Master Sword, I believe, so who would turn that down? And there's also the fact that almost as beneficial as the double damage, I believe, is the fact that it's also much longer. Which means that if you play your cards right, you're not going to be able to, face everything at, melee range. You can avoid damage if you play your cards right. That's especially the case against Dark Nuts, which are a type of enemy we're not going to be encountering until we're close to the end of the game. There's one drawback, though. This sword is held with 2 hands, meaning you can't use the sword and the shield at the same time. So, for those situations, there are a few things you can do. You can either put the Bigoron sword away, then use the shield, which take a bit of time because it takes a while for the command, to put the sword away to appear. You can also use the Master Sword instead, or you can do what I do to quickly put the Bigoron sword away. Use the hook shot. This works best if you're L-targeted to something, but yeah, using the hook shot allows you to use your shield again, so that's what I usually do when I need to get my shield out in a hurry. And yeah, massive shortcut is massive, saved a lot of time. And you still want to hold up your shield. It's probably quicker to, just roll through the entire path, but that way, having your shield up, you avoid damage like this. Of course, it doesn't prevent you from getting damaged at all, because sometimes you're still going to take damage, but it's still better than that. And yes, I know I have 13 hearts, so I could have just afforded to roll as well. Oh, so that's where the red Tektite was coming from the first time I came through here. Oh, now I understand. But, yeah, you might say that I have 13 hearts, but I also still have more than a minute left, and I'm almost at the top. So either way, I still had more than enough of everything in order to last me a while. And by the way, see the time that's left right now? I would probably have less than 20 seconds left if I didn't use that shortcut with the magic bean. So that's why I strongly recommend that you plant the magic bean there as a kid in order to make this a whole lot easier, give you more room for mistakes. Anyway, now we brought him the eye drops, which means it's time for the eye drops heard around the world! And Goron Punch! Yep, the Bigoron sword is as good as ours. Just one thing, though. We're going to have to wait 3 days for it to be ready. So that means we can do one of 2 things. Wait for the 3 days to pass and do some other stuff in the meantime, or we can play the Sun's Song 6 times, which is what I'll be doing. So next time on Ocarina of Time, we're going to get the Bigoron sword. And after that, we're going to be good to get started on the Forest Temple at long last.